welcome to Bottom Line Sports Talk. I'm George A. Rib. You know my partner, Albert Kim. And Albert, how many times have we gotten on here and talked about somebody scoring 1,000 points and not only celebrating the achievement, but what went on to make it happen?
It's everything. And congratulations to Krista Perry from Crestview. 1,000 point score with her 20 points and put over the milestone this past week. And the coach said it best. Aaron Blatch, deserving the honor because what she did in the weight room, on the court and off the court, Georgia cannot be done with us snapping our fingers and hopefully you got 1,000 points.
No, and I like what she said. They asked her, the big thing was we won.
Yes. So that
more of that. We like more of that.
That combination of being a great player and being there for your teammates is something that we hold in high esteem here on this show.
Hey, we're on our own, weight room, putting the extra time in.
It works. It does work too. You can, basketball is a game of skill. You can be the fastest runner in the school and still be a lousy basketball player. You could jump 2 inches off the floor and still be a good basketball player if you have skill, and that's what Krista has. She can score at the basket with both hands. I watch film on her. She can score with both hands. Anticipates really well with her defensive in the lanes, and not super fast, but it doesn't have to be. Just does the job. 1,000 points, Krista. Congratulations for a tremendous career. That also leads us to somebody who's having a great career, Bo Brungard of Springfield, 2-time Player of the Year, and only a junior. And that Brungard name's famous over in Ohio, and Bo's carrying on that name. We'll come back next year and try to get Springfield to win that state championship.
So he throws for 2,000, runs for 1,000, and responsible for 47 touchdowns.
That'll have something to do with being Player of the Year.
I like your shot.
Yes, it will, and
well done. Buddy.
I know Bo would want to get that last game in. Came right down to the last seconds, and they lose in the state finals. But he'll come back and he'll give it a try next year. But congratulations to Bo also for a first 2 seasons. Stay in that weight room, brother. Get yourself faster, get yourself bigger, and we can't wait to see you next year.
The early signing period was last week when the Youngstown Gabs 8 guys.
Yeah, congratulations to Coach Phillips in his first recruiting camp.
Yeah, that's right. That's his first class.
Yeah, it is. Coach Doug Phillips, and every guy loves. He wanted to go the hometown route, and we don't agree with that. We don't anymore. We thought when Coach Tressel was here, that you could go out of your door, get 25 great recruits, and win a national championship.
And Ursuline and
right, yes, go around.
Mooney were just slaughtering people forever.
So I'm not. I understand that these eight players probably are big time players, but I think you have to widen your horizon in Youngstown to compete with the North Dakota states of the world.
Yeah.
You're in a league that is the toughest in the country by far because North Dakota State's in it, and I think you have to get the best players in this area you can, coach. Then put your young assistants. That's why you hired them. Put them on the road. And go get the best players from someplace else.
Here's a car and a credit card.
Go
Come
get
back in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Carter Kelgren, E.J. Johnson, Jackson Wasser.
I'll tell you why you went for them. They're linemen.
Absolutely.
Georgia. We know we give the credit more than any show around to the big hogs.
We are big on that. These runners are going nowhere without a line.
You ask Ezekiel Elliott, ask guys like that who are big-time running backs that get zero, get nothing because the line is not blocking. So if you're going to recruit, and I think Coach Phillips did this well, if you're going to go out and get a recruit and make your first class excellent, go get some great linemen. That is a big check mark for you, Coach. You're on the right track there because I think that's the way you win at YSU. When this weather gets cold and that snow's on the ground, and you've got linemen that can control the line of scrimmage, you can go back to the winning ways at YSU.
How about the record? The guys are 41-17.
We're big on that too.
2 state titles. I'm real big on winners.
Yeah, if you're going to recruit, I'm going to recruit from a school that's used to winning. I'm going to recruit kids that value winning.
They've sacrificed.
Yes.
put the team in front. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and you value that, then, and you've already been a part of that. Then you know what it takes to win. I mean, there's George. If it was easy, everybody win. What can I say?
Yeah.
It's not easy. George used the word sacrifice. We're talking about sacrificing. Don't mess up in the classroom. You cannot help the team when your grades are bad.
Starts there. I heard a great one, different sport, but a great story for you. Matumbo comes here, and I guess he's liking America's way of doing things. He's not going to class. John Thompson gets him a one-way ticket back to the Congo or where he's from. He got him a one-way ticket.
One-way
He said,
ticket.
here. He said, this will be what you need because you're not going to be here.
I love it.
I mean, tell me, that wouldn't get your attention.
Yeah, and John Thompson is a guy I respect so much.
Mm-hmm.
I love him so much that he did his own way. He did it his own way. I remember he walked off the court when he said, "Listen, we're not my
Prop
guys."
48's not fair.
Yeah, it's not doing it right. It's
Yeah.
not doing it right.
No.
So he just didn't talk about it
Yeah.
like that right there. He didn't talk about it. He said, he didn't
Nobody
scare
knew.
Matambo.
No.
He said, here's the truth of the matter. You don't go to class,
We're going.
you're going.
We're not about that here.
Yeah,
He'd have that deflated basketball on his desk saying basically when basketball's over,
he lived it.
what are you going to do?
What a man! What a man! A pure man. You know, he's respected by everybody that truly understands coaching. And if you just listen to Patrick Ewing, I remember he came into school. They said he would never make it in school because he couldn't get the grades.
Mm.
And you hear him talk today eloquently and just understands what John Thompson did for him. John Thompson took care of
The
him.
book is terrific. There are stories. I just hit the shelf last week, and I guess
Oh, I didn't know that, George.
yeah, it's
Thank you.
supposed to be great.
I'll get that and read
And
that.
they said that there's a famous story about his meeting with the biggest drug dealer in the East Coast, and they talk about how he told the guy to come to it. It's nothing like that. They said it was very intense, and it was they met.
Yeah, that's how he stood up for his kids.
Yeah.
He said, "Listen,
He basically told
don't get
these
near
guys,
my kids."
Yeah, you got to. They're my boys.
Yes, don't get near my kids. Yeah, I really respect him a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's what Coach Phillips will have to do in YSU. He'll have to build the same kind of commitment program to get them back to where they were.
Yeah.
YSU kids.
See-
YSU, it doesn't have by accident.
And today in that league, it's so much tougher.
Oh my
There are
gosh.
3-4 national
Oh,
contenders.
South Dakota State beat you anytime you step on. Northern Iowa beat you anytime you come on the field.
Yeah.
You know, and these other teams are growing. So YSU, you got your hands full, but you look like you have 8 players that are getting that started on the line of scrimmage. I like it. Good luck to you, Coach. As hopefully we get back to normal next
Yeah,
year.
we're going to get over there and see what's
Yeah,
going
and see what's
on.
going on. We love to do an interview with you.
Yeah.
And we had Coach Wolford on, who by the way just got the offensive
Yeah.
line job at Kentucky.
Great.
Yes, we root for him too. He did some great recruiting at YSU. Bo Pelini won with his players.
Mhm.
No, not a question in my mind. That was a high mark. Coach Wolford brought in some great players at YSU.
Absolutely.
All right, George. We want to talk a little bit about
Hit this coaching business today.
that we've been talking about Coach Phillips. A lot of great coaches in the Ohio area. I'm talking about football and basketball. Guys that grasp this, but there's a lot of young coaches that want to get started. A lot of parents who, what do I do with my kids, and how do we get started? And George and I are going to talk a little bit today about the direction you should take. And no one was more fundamental than George. He coached it from the time he started coaching. George, fundamentals.
Just have a way of doing things that I believe in. You said repetition then builds good habits.
Yeah.
And we talked about that. And, I know, like, I remember one time distinctly, we take the ball to the side and lay it off the glass, and the kid took it over the front, and I took him out, and it went in. And I said, that's not what we do.
It's not what we do. And the players understand and what happens then when you start stressing what we do, the culture we're trying to build, you don't have to say it anymore because the players will tell the other players, that isn't how we do it here. When the kid's not going to class or mess up a class, your teammates will say that.
How about Coach
That is
Slugger
how we do
telling
it
us
here.
roommates? One guy would go to the class and the other guy would
That
sit.
bothered us.
It bothered us. It bothered him that the other guy wouldn't care
Yeah,
enough about
yes.
But you have to care about yourself too.
Yeah.
Get your rear end out of bed.
Yeah, get out of bed. But if I was a teammate, say, listen, we can't win if you're ineligible. We cannot win, but it is really important that fundamentals are taught.
And they're not just on the field or on the floor.
No, in life fundamentals. That's the way it goes. Manners will be always important to me. The please and thank you, you're welcome. Opening doors for somebody older than you. That is part of becoming a YSU athlete. Becoming a better athlete in high school.
Make this idea that you can't be, rugged or whatever. I just love these guys that they off the field. They're meek and mild. Man, they walk across that line, and you better be looking out both sides.
I'll tell you, who fits that bill more than anybody in the country is Army, Navy, and Air Force.
Absolutely.
Do you understand? Absolutely. When you hear them talking, yes, sir.
Yeah.
No, sir.
No.
They talk, and then they get on that field,
and
they're going to rip your head off.
But they don't tackle out of bounds.
No, they don't. They do everything right.
Yeah, it's.
Well, that's why they're there.
It's building habits.
That's why
they are. Yeah, they're leaders. They're
yeah.
But let's back to this technique. Regardless of the sport, whether it's tennis, we coach basketball and football, it doesn't matter. There are certain fundamentals that are needed to be successful. Now, you can take it off the floor field, going to class, having a bedtime, your nutrition, whatever. We talk to Buddy Morris every year, the Arizona Cardinals. They're as big on how much water you get and rest as they are anything.
He's the strength coach at Arizona, and he's been valuable to us in teaching us about what's going on in the world today. They use computers for all that. Every inch of your sleep they'll know when you come in the morning.
Absolutely.
How much sleep you had.
Absolutely.
So those professional athletes, they are treated differently. It takes money, I get that, but they know how much sleep they know what they've eaten. They know exactly how many times and how many weights. There'll be times they call a player in Arizona and all pro teams. You're not practicing today. Why? The analytics of your lifting, of your you need this day off.
And then the old timers don't practice Wednesdays in the pros anyway.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, Roethlisberger. Oftentimes you'll read the Pittsburgh people say they sent him out Wednesday, and they practice Wednesday.
Yeah, for people who don't understand, they are paid lots of money not to show up on Wednesday. They're paid lots of money to show up and play on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And Roethlisberger does that. Unless he's hurt really bad, he's out there playing. He's out there playing. What was that? What was Wilt's line with?
Wilt. They had a shoot around. They had never had. Alex Hannum was the coach. They had never done it. They all do it now except Boeheim. And they have shoot around the day of the games, and a lot of them get lathered up too. It's not a shoot around.
It's like a practice, yes.
It's a practice.
Right.
And Alex Hannum decides he's going to do that, and he sends Hal Greer over, and he knocks on the door, and Wilt looks down at him. He says, "Coach is having a shoot around. He wants you to come over." Wilt looks at his watch. It's like 1:30. He says, "You tell Alex I'm either coming to the gym at 8 or 2. Tell him which one he wants me." That was the end of the shoot around for Wilt.
That's one of the greatest lines ever.
No, he said,
I'll be there tonight.
Said, I'm coming once. You want me to come for the shoot around or the game?
That was a great line. It
might have been the night he scored 100 points in Hershey. 36 baskets, 28.
It is a truth. So fundamentals, you start with fundamentals. Yeah. You start with the habits, building good habits. Yeah. That's number one, young coaches. And how do you do that? There's nothing worse. If I come to your practice and I see you with 10 kids standing in a line and one basketball and hand it to a kid, and you're wasting your time. George and I trained kids for a long time. And the only making sure thing we did was
use your space.
Every kid had a basketball.
Every kid had a ball.
There was no chance. If you didn't have a basketball, don't come.
No.
Because we didn't want you standing around for a second.
No.
We were doing something at all times. We were not going to steal your money. And you were going to go for an hour. You were going to get 55 minutes of work. Mm-hmm. There might be 5 minutes of time you had to wait 2 seconds before you went. But you had your own basketball.
We travel a lot for our TV show, and we see a lot of practices, and sometimes what we see is not real favorable. Obviously, we keep our mouth shut. It's none of
we talk about it, though.
But
we talk about
big lines of kids, 2 engaged and 28 in a line.
We're not making this up either.
No, and this is, and I'm going to add to it. These are good teams.
Yeah, they win a lot of games, so they win with talent.
The big T.
It's a talent. The big T wins it because
Big
they're
T.
not coaching right.
No.
And so once you get the habits set and you got the fundamentals taught, now you got to get them to play hard. That's where you add the intensity. You must
Talk about practicing though with intensity. You ever hear this line? I'm a gamer. Well, you'd never get there on my team.
no.
You'd never get to Friday night.
And the gamer will only last as long as he's better than somebody. As soon as somebody's as good as him, he's out.
They'll push him
You know,
aside.
he's right away. He's back in the background. Those kids that practice hard, those kids that understand the value of going hard at practice, that's the art of coaching. That's what John Wooden did. John Wooden, he recruited kids that understood that going hard was part of their
He
basis.
used the backboard
Always.
on everything
Always.
with an angle.
Always used the
I
backboard.
mean, he
He took the
went as
fundamentals.
far how to put your socks on.
Yeah, fundamentals were his number one thing.
Oh,
And then
absolutely.
secondly, he made sure that you went hard on your own. See, if the coach is demanding it from you.
Yeah. Demands the work. We not too long on our radio show talked to the Westminster coach,
Right.
and he was talking about just paying lip service. I hate when someone says, "I told them." Calipari did
That's
that
not
in the
their
national championship.
That's our guarantee.
I told them to foul.
Yes.
Well, guess what, John? If you practice that every night,
No, if they do it, they
the
would
last
they
10
would do
minutes.
it. Yeah.
they'll foul every time.
Yeah, they would. So fundamentals, going hard, and then at practice, add some pressure, coaches.
Now, how do you do that?
By competing. You had competition in all your drills. Kids like competing. Coach Slocum, who's a great basketball coach, and left Coach Calhoun a nice program at YSU, said he found out that the greatest way to coach college basketball, the one thing the kids had in common, George, they love to compete. They love to compete.
See, I learned that. I learned that
Uh-huh.
from him. I wasn't aware. I mean, I just had drills and did different things, but then I noticed when you start putting a reward or a punishment,
Right.
not a punishment,
I understand.
5 up and
push-ups
back,
or something. Yeah,
5
exactly.
push-ups, but the idea is you want to win.
Yeah, and the kids today love competing. George and I, in our old days, 40, 50 years ago, we loved competing. That's not changing. And there's a scoreboard.
Have you
up
ever
the
heard
person-
him say it's a must win? And I was sitting there yesterday. I had the radio on.
That's such a
I was
joke.
doing something, and the guy says, "Boy, that's a must." And I'm thinking, I'm trying to think if I ever played in a game
Never.
as a player
Never.
or as a coach that I wasn't a must win to me.
Right. It's
Is there such a thing?
It's inbred in athletes that they love to compete.
That's how you know a guy never competed, like this little Greenberg on
Greeny.
Greeny on ESPN. He's always saying stuff like, well, they don't have to win this one or they should lose on purpose. And I know right away he never competed.
Yes.
There isn't a guy
No.
in that league that would lose on purpose.
Never.
Now, front office may strip the team.
Yes.
Like
that make it
Jackson.
more difficult.
That's different.
yeah. It is.
But those guys on that field that day are all in.
All in, George. You couldn't say it any better. And so when you look at coaches, you look at players, you're trying to get fundamentally sound. You're trying to add intensity to practice. You're add a little pressure. They're one of the hardest jobs in football is a kicker that has not learned to handle pressure.
Oh.
They kick the ball when they're down up 6 touchdowns. They kick 50 yards.
How do you do that? You,
You know-
call the team around
Yeah,
them.
you
You
do.
put out suicides on it. What do you do? Because until he makes we'll be watching. I'll buzz him. I missed the third field goal for
Why would you give him a
Chargers.
chance, huh?
And I call Al. I go, Al, 2 misses ago he'd have been done. I'm going for it. By third down play,
At least
it's
you're
going to
going to
be related because I know I'm going for it on fourth. Like 3rd and 2, I'm running twice.
I understand that, and they should be thinking ahead. But Bill Parcells was the best at that. He would gather his team around, and they'd be 2 inches away from the kicker, hooting and hollering, saying, "Now we're going to find out what you're made of." Parcells wouldn't mess around with kickers. I want to find out what you're made of.
Remember the famous kicker story when he was in New England? And the kicker had a head cold or something. And the trainer comes over. He says, Coach, he goes, I don't know if Raul can play today. Of course, that's good. That's good because I just want him to kick.
That's what Parcells have it. That's the way he handled it. That's the way he
That's the
handled
way
it.
you play it.
So you do those three things, and then you finish up. Guess what you finish up with again, George? Fundamentals again. And you do it a little harder this time. You said, but we're going to do these fundamentals again. So it becomes a habit. You know, good habits become good habits. Bad habits become bad habits.
Basketball guys not cutting hard like your old motion.
Oh my gosh.
And I watch and they throw them out and
they wonder why it doesn't work.
They cut in front of their man. And
Yeah.
they do it. And I'm like, this isn't what you're supposed to do.
And they'll say, you know, that doesn't work as good as Coach McCluskey said.
No, I didn't think so.
And I'm saying there's a reason why you're not doing it hard, you're not doing it right.
Speed.
How about those two things? Doing it hard and doing it right.
You know, I liked your thought there. That's an old. A lot of people don't prescribe to that today, making your practices harder in your games. That's a Coach Mack thing all the way.
Yeah, and so and I copy everything he did. So I truly believe that. And I'm not talking about pros. I never coached pros, so I don't know what pros do.
No.
But I know if I'm coaching high school or college, my practices are
Tuesday and Friday are day off.
yes, my practices are going hard. So when they play those games, they're thinking, man, this was easier in practice.
Fun. This
Yeah.
is easy.
Yes.
Let's talk some NBA a little bit. I'm a little worried about Giannis having to live on $57 million a year. They got the Bird exception, by the way, people. That is for you guys that don't follow the NBA. He can make more money. They try to protect the little teams, the Green Bays.
Right.
You know, for example, in football, the Milwaukee's in basketball, so everyone doesn't end up on the Lakers. This phenomenon where you stack, this goes back to the Celtics with the three amigos, and then it went to Miami, the banana boat or whatever.
Right.
Now it's common practice. It wasn't always.
Yeah. So he signs with Milwaukee, $228 million.
$57 million per.
Yeah, and when I read that, I wondered. I asked George how could he, and George explained the Bird rule to me, and I like that. But then I saw that Damian Lillard
He got the Bird
was
exception,
$44 million at Portland. I can't understand that.
Al thinks that's way too much.
For him, it is.
For Dame time.
I don't think he can win a
It's
championship.
Dame time.
I don't think he's a player that can win a championship in the NBA.
Okay.
I don't like. I think LeBron can win championships.
Okay.
I know the Greek Freak can. I know he can. So I understand paying guys money. That the Bird rule. Larry Bird can win championships. Damian Lillard is a high volume shooter from long range. Can shoot you in or out. He's that kind of player. He's volatile.
Now LeBron got a raise. He's up to $43 million.
I'd pay him money. I'd pay him the money.
Yeah.
No question.
Jordan
about it.
always made his money off the floor. He never cared.
Yeah, he did. He was an endorsement.
Yeah,
king.
he didn't worry about
And LeBron can do that at any time too.
No.
I mean, his agent can make a call.
LeBron appears to want to play with his son, and he's going to do that. He's going to try.
Says he wants to play 4 or 5 more years for sure. That's what he says.
36, boy, he doesn't look 36.
Yeah.
Takes care of himself. There's we talk about the old days.
It's different.
Guy got a camel in the side of his mouth at halftime. Lenny Dawson
Right.
lighting one up like in a lung dart while he's getting a halftime speech.
So different.
No.
Yeah. I use the example. My mom and dad thought it was normal.
Yeah.
Normal
Mm-hmm.
to smoke cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
So they smoked. I remember my dad smoking my whole life. Then you put those old TV shows on.
I watched Perry Mason.
They
It's
all
wondering
are
they didn't
smoking.
kill that Paul Drake guy just on filming the show.
They're all smoking.
He's got 4 or 5 darts every show.
Every single one. And
It's
so now
incredible.
today we know
Yeah.
from our education and from nutrition classes that
Yeah.
all these things are
The
valued.
body's in like an engine.
So LeBron
Don't
is
put cheap gas in your
at
engine.
36 years of age.
Yeah.
He's really better shape
And
than
these
guys were at 20.
And that's what Cuban figured it out in Dallas with all those single players. They have a training table. He feeds them there, makes sure. Because
Pretty
these guys
smart,
are
huh?
all eating Taco Bell.
Yeah, they would if you got
No,
it.
they have a Ferrari. They wouldn't put regular gas in
No.
it. But they'll eat Taco Bell. And I'm nothing against Taco
No.
Bell once a week.
No, we're
straight.
talking about fast food.
Yeah.
We're talking about fast food.
Yes.
And for an athlete who's trying to be in the best
Absolutely.
shape of his life,
Absolutely.
there is a limit to how many fast foods you eat.
Now we got 4 time minutes left. The old theme of ours, stats are made to be broken. Herbert broke the record the other night set by Mayfield. In 3 years, someone's going to come along and break that because they're passing 60 times a
That's
game.
my big thing. It is. George has led me right into it. He knows how I feel about that. That there is no sport today played anything like it used to be. I mean, I know Herbert's a good player, but he couldn't hold Dan Fouts' jockstrap. And he's breaking all Dan Fouts' records because they throw the ball every play, and they throw it every 20 seconds.
Roethlisberger throws 60 passes.
Every game.
Bradshaw, that was 3 games.
No, it was. Every game.
Right? He threw
Oh,
it
yeah.
out 20 times.
No question. Sometimes 4 games. Sometimes you threw it 12 times. The game has changed. So basketball, you know,
3 ball.
you are going to see many records in scoring
Mm-hmm.
because you run down the floor. I saw a game the other night. I called.
Oh, no, this is a classic. And I saw one last year on TV in the tournament.
I had never seen this before. I got to admit, I've seen a lot. A guy stole the ball at the defensive foul line, and it was one of his teammates ahead of the pack down the other end of the floor. Instead of running for him for a layup, remember, he said, nobody on the floor. He ran to the left corner, and the guy fed it across. He shot a 3 with nobody on the floor. I'll say that again. He shot a 3 with nobody in the picture.
Yeah.
Instead of taking the ball and go laying it in. I had never seen
too.
that. I never seen that before.
No, it's crazy. One last item, we're going to call it a day. This one-time transfer, 21,
I don't like that choice, by the
22.
way. I don't
They
like
said it's going to be permanent.
Yeah, that's why I don't like it. I understand it this year. I do that because it's crazy time.
Yeah.
But that means they're saying you go to Ohio State.
You don't like it?
You don't like it? I'm leaving. I'm going to Michigan. I'm playing right away.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that.
I thought the year gave you some, and I think a lot of kids gained some wisdom.
So do I.
And realized
Make you think it through.
Play there.
Yeah.
This makes it too easy.
It's too
This is like
easy.
no fault divorce.
That's the answer.
It's
too,
It's
George,
no
it's
fault
too-
divorce.
it's-
It's too easy.
Some kids need that. I know the parents don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
They need a little bit of adversity. They've been the best player to
You
high
didn't
school
start
forever.
right away. You have to work. You have to get in. Now, once again, here's the antithesis. Pitt. Someone's leaving Pitt.
Oh yeah.
They never dreamed Pickett would come back.
Can you believe that?
We're going to call his mom. We're going to
Call Mrs. Pickett now.
We're calling Mrs. Pickett because we don't understand.
He should have went the pros.
Absolutely. But anyhow, I think that so many great quarterbacks in this class. I think he's thinking, but he got to deal with Sam next year for sure.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. But I watched Pickett play, and I think he's a great player. But I do think it's wise. I think he looks at the pass rush too much still. You know, that's a common mistake kids make.
All right.
You know, you're not looking down the field. The great
All right.
guys can see the pass rush
There you go.
and look down the field.
Hey, you heard it right here. Thanks again for watching Bottom Line Sports Talk. We'll see you next week.